Okay. This is Cooper. Cooper is trying very hard to do his homework. Cooper sadly gives up and watches Netflix. What we just witnessed is a college freshman struggling to do his homework.
That I have, many of them have
Do high school students struggle with motivation?
On their minds, and school is not at the forefront. Maybe home's not as good as they want it to be. Maybe they're dealing with financial issues, and they're more concerned about how to help their parents, provide for their family. Or maybe they're having to go home and take care of brothers and sisters, and so the education is just not always first on their mind. And then I think some are just kind of sucked into the technology world and find their gaming and their texting a lot more interesting, unfortunately, than, say, learning English and math, etc.
After interviewing a couple of high school teachers and college professors, we learned that many students, including high schoolers and college students, struggle to motivate themselves. After a deep analysis of interviews and articles, we were able to come to this conclusion. No Child Left Behind causes problems with students' motivation, which makes it harder for them to succeed in college. At the end of this Oscar-nominated movie, we are hoping to inform professors about the problem college freshmen are facing and also help them with some suggestions on how to aid and support their students, and some recommendations to students on how to overcome procrastination. The first problem we are going to tackle will be cultural differences between high school and college.
Have difficulty transitioning to college for a number of different reasons, motivation being part of it. Part of it is that it's such a different environment from what they've experienced before. I don't know that the word motivation is right. I'd say it's more culture shock. They don't know what to expect. They think it's going to be like high school, and then they discover that it's not grade 13. That college is a whole nother level up. It's very different from anything they've done before, and that what they've done before has not adequately prepared them for what's being asked of us here, and as a result, they're in shock. And maybe it comes across as a lack of motivation, and maybe for some of it is. It's like, well, all I had to do was show up, and I got a passing grade in high school. So why can't I do that here?
In order for us to make our point, we are going to take you way back in high school where the problem originated. As Michael Gagnon just said, there are cultural differences between high school and college. When we asked Leah Lang, a teacher at Berkmar High School, about the causes of the lack of motivation among high schoolers, her answer was, "No Child Left Behind was the worst policy passed in education. The curriculum is not appropriate to all students. Teachers are responsible for students' learning. Lack of personal interest, lack of home support. Students' whole job at a..." In high school, No Child Left Behind is implemented, a congressional bill signed by Presidents George W. Bush in 2001. The policy objective was to help underprivileged students get the same education as everyone else. To ensure that no child was left behind, each state was required to give tests called standardized tests at the end of each school year. Teachers are teaching to the test. can see, students are bored with information. There are not enough interactions. At first, this policy was an antidote, but unfortunately, No Child Left Behind later morphed into a virus spawning chaos on the American K-12 school system. Some of the critiques of No Child Left Behind are quality of teaching, teaching to the test, schools are held accountable for students' performance, students are taught to not think, narrow curriculum, narrow subset of skills, unfair to ESL students, unrealistic goals, lower national standard, depreciation of arts as electives. Because of these problems, high school is all about performance. But why so much focus on performance? According to Valerie Strauss in her article, Uptint, the myth of lagging U.S. schools. This is a social problem, a misconception affecting schools rooted in international rankings that tie test performance to economic. Valerie Strauss states, meanwhile, in college, professors are interested in not how well a student can memorize and regurgitate, but in how well a student can apply what he or she learned. In college, application is more important than performance, opposed to high school where teachers are depositors of information and students recipients, according to Fisher in the article The Banking Concept of Education.
Excessive use of standardized tests means that teachers in high school spend 100% of their time teaching you answers rather than teaching you information and knowledge. And as a result, when they get to college and they discover that we're not focused on answers to specific tests, instead we're focusing on conveying information and skill sets, they're confused. They always ask that question, will this be on the test? And the answer is, well, sure, as is everything that I teach in this class is potentially on the test. I can't tell you specifically if it will be.
Fisher states, employers say that recent graduates often don't know how to communicate effectively and struggle with adapting, problem solving, and making decisions. College is a place where students develop soft skills such as critical thinking, communication skills, adaptation, flexibility, teamwork. A college degree sorts job applicants, but employers wish it meant more. Because of these methods used in high school, fun has been taken away, leaving learning in high school boring, lifeless, and unenjoyable, a punishment. Which completely goes against the whole fun concept around learning. What we need to know about the cultural differences can be resumed to this. High school focuses on performance, lack of fun, and testing, while college is enjoying application and learning. Other differences between high school and college would be responsibilities.
The transition from middle school to high school. In middle school, everybody is kind of kept together. You're on pods and teams, and so students go from class to class together, and there's still walk from room to room. And in high school, now you've got more classes and you've got more freedom to get where you need to go. And so we often see the students struggle going from that 8th to 9th grade year. And I think the same thing happens a lot at college. I know I saw this in my own experience. Many of the students that I went to college with didn't return after their freshman year because they just didn't make it. And I think the big jump is that, especially if you're living away, your parents aren't always there, and there's not someone constantly saying, hey, don't forget to study. Hey, don't forget to do this paper. Where when you're in high school, you've got someone, whether it's a high school teacher, a counselor, other friends that are there, you're doing the same project, you're in the same classes, they're keeping you on track. Even if you get off track, they're still going to get you back on. And in college, you don't have that same support. You go and you might take a class on Monday night, and you might take a class on, say, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you might not go back until another week. And if there's not someone guiding you and keeping you focused, it is very easy to become distracted, especially with all the freedoms. If you are only taking classes, then maybe you're not even working and trying to balance a schedule, and you lose track of time. And I think that's a huge issue for students who are transitioning from either high school to college or, like I said, middle school.
In high school, students are still supported by their parents and have less responsibilities. Parents will wake their child up.
Wake up! Okay, time for school. I'm getting up. Wake up! Getting up. The bus.
Then there is the bus to take the child to school. But in college, there is less parental support and more responsibilities. Wake yourself up. Get to school by your own means.
Other reasons students might not be as motivated, again, is, in our school, a lot of people work. They're going to school often. They have large roles in their families, things that they have to do. They're frequently very overburdened, and they haven't quite learned to manage their time to figure out how to put all those pieces together. And probably they're trying to juggle way too much. And so when a teacher says, okay, for college level work you have to do this, this, and this, and they say, oh, that's too much, I can't do that. Not because they're not capable of doing it, but because they've just got way too much other things on their plate at the time.
Now, because of these enormous differences, the transition is not as easy as many would think. As a result of the differences in values of the two discourse communities, high school students bring some weaknesses into college that makes the process even harder. Among those weaknesses is procrastination. This is Hobby, coming home after working all day. He is extremely exhausted. Hobby also has a research paper due the next day. Well, the obvious choice is to go to sleep, and that's what Hobby did. Poor boy. In the article How to Beat Procrastination, Bradbury explains that procrastination is rooted in our emotions, and those who overcome it use it as a calculated strategy. Students first need to know why they procrastinate. Bradbury explains, when you are not in the mood to work, procrastination is telling you something important. It could be something simple, such as you need to take a break or get something to eat. It could also mean something complex, such as you are carrying the team on your back or you are dissatisfied with your job. Procrastination stems from negative emotions. Students procrastinate because they are not in the right mood to complete a task. To overcome procrastination, one must take control of their emotions by planning ahead, exercising discipline, work in the right environment, focus on results, keep away from distractions. But not just students can act in order to make this transition to college as smooth as possible. Professors also can help. What do you do to motivate your students?
To motivate my students. First of all, I have confidence in them that they can do the work that I assign them. And I let them know I have confidence. I also tell them, even if you've never done this before, I have sufficient instructions to help you get through whatever the assignment is. I spend a lot of time with my students. They don't think I do, but I do. I'm more than willing to stop and talk and help them if they take the advantage of my help. They have to approach me. I'm probably not going to try to catch everyone who falls through the cracks. I try, but I know from experience that I'm just not going to be able to do that. So I really encourage people to approach me. I try to be a very approachable person. I tell a lot of stories in class. I crack a lot of bad jokes, most of which rarely get any laughs, but they know I'm trying. I don't know. I try to be friendly.
Just try to be that sounding board and try to be supportive, having humor and just being happy in this good time. Even if I'm not happy, I try my best to put on a smile and make sure that when they walk through the doors of my classroom, they know that it's a safe environment where they can make mistakes and they can also keep to their potential. I try to show them what they can achieve. I try to challenge students on different levels.
Suggestions? We classified our suggestions between in-class activities and outside activities. For in-class activities, 1, we propose more communication between professors and students. More interaction. As you can see, students are enjoying learning. A student-professor relationship. More teamwork assignments so students can develop leadership, communication, and teamwork skills. Turn class over to students because the best way of learning is teaching. Make learning fun by incorporating games such as Jeopardy! For outside of class, we thought about using technology as a way to get students engaged, such as apps, website-based softwares, etc. Using YouTube as a learning tool. Encourage students to participate in clubs, workshops, and internships. In conclusion, No Child Left Behind causes multiple problems in the American K-12 school system, among which is the lack of motivation. Therefore, the transition to college is harder for students. The end.